Hey, what's up? This is Adam with Mr. Horse. In this video, we will put our hands on the essential typography pack in Premiere Pro. There's a separate video for After Effects that you can watch as well. In this tutorial, we are going to recreate following titles. A basic title with 2 lines, then a similar title with 3 lines, an icon with the text, a custom 4 lines title, a speech bubble with a highlight, a combination of 2 titles, then a combination of title and a shape, some crazy custom title with arc, another combination of titles with different fonts, an example of typography background, and a combination of a title and a simple background that's also included in this pack. So let's get to it and let's start with the first one. So this is what we are going to recreate right now. I'll just duplicate this footage and let's start. It's a title of 2 lines and it has a round edges with a filled box. I think I will start with this one and find the 2 lines folder, and this could work. I'll edit. Okay, here we go. And now let's customize it. The font was, I forgot it, Pacifica and a fat franc. So the first line was San Francisco. Font name Pacifica. And this was fat franc. And there was a great trip, let's say. Let's scale it a bit, maybe a bit less. And let's now change the colors. I'll change it to blue, maybe a bit darker blue. Okay, then I will change the color of the font inside of the box. And now I want to change these paddings, this distance between the text and the left and right part of the box. So I go to container and I'm looking for this slider, padding horizontal. So I'll decrease it a little, and I'll also change the round corners to something like this. Now I see that the gap is quite big and this second line is quite small and I want to increase it. So what I'm gonna do, I'll find the scale text to slider and I change the scale a little bit. Then I'll also change the position of the text to, and this is gonna be it, I suppose. Maybe change a little bit scale again to make it a bit smaller and put it a little bit up. Great. So right now the girl has its head not covered by the box, and let's preview what we got here. Great. Let's move to the next title. So there are 3 lines. I'll just duplicate the footage and let's start over. It's quite similar, so I'll just stick with this style, and I think it was this one. So I'll just drag it to the timeline, and here we are. If I want to get rid of the out transition, I can simply select the clip and press Command K or Control K if you're on Windows to trim it, and then I'll extend the clip to the end. Now let's move it a little. So I'll change the X position and the Y position. Fine. I will change the font to Inter and make it black. The same for this one. And the third line is a bit small, so I'll increase it a little as well. let's scale text 3 like this, and I will make it Inter as well. Black. Nice. So I'll scale it up a little bit, and I want to make these gaps smaller. So I go here, scroll down to text, and here you can see position correction sliders. And I want to move this second line a bit to the top. So I go here and click into it, and then use Shift down to decrease the value. Okay, I think this is it. And also, now I want to change this gap. So I go to position text 3. That will move the whole thing with the box as well. Great. Now I'll change the color to something like this. Change the font color. And also change the round corners to, let's say 10 is nice. Right, so let's see what we got here. And there we go. Next one. This is an icon with text. So let's duplicate the footage, move here, and it's in a different style. I mean, by style, I mean the top folder inside the Essential Typography folder. So let's go to Social Media folder, and let's take the first one. I'll drag it to the timeline. Great. And let's change it a little bit. So I'll change the position. The first thing we are gonna do is to change the icon. These icons work with a special font called Font Awesome. If you don't have this font installed, here you will see a link to an article where you can download the font for free. This is the font website where you can search all the icons that are available. So let's search for thumb up. I go here to this page. I just click. Now it's copied to my clipboard. And in Premiere, I select the icon, paste, and you can see there's a new icon. Great, so let's customize it a little bit. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change this color to, let's say, a dark red. And I'm also going to change the corners. Now we can see that the icon is not very well aligned. Let me change the workspace a little bit so you can see better. And I'll move this a bit here. Great, because we are not working with audio. Okay, so one thing I can do is to move this icon inside of this box. I can do it pretty easily just by changing a few sliders. But here's what. I want to remove the red fill. So I'm going to the container and change the fill opacity icon box to 0. Now I want to move this icon to the right. So I'll just move it and also scale the icon. Here we go. I want to scale it up a bit because it's small. Oh yeah, and change the text to something like and subscribe. Great. I'll reposition it to the center. Change the font to Good Dog New. Oh, and now I can see the font is a bit small. This is something that will happen quite a lot because fonts are just different. So I'll make the icon a bit smaller again and position it a bit to the top. Again, let's scale it and move it to the right. And now let's add some drop shadow. The thing is that this is a white text on a pretty light background, what is not really good for reading. Here we go, and search for drop shadow. And here we go. Let's take a look. Great. Let's jump to the next title. So let's take a look. Great. I'll duplicate the footage. This is something I have created with a text box fill rounded title. It was inside of the long lines and it was this one. So I'll drag it here. And you can see that the default looks a bit different. There are spaces. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to the container section and I am going to change the padding vertical and also the padding horizontal. And a bit more of the vertical padding. I can also change the distance between the lines. Just like that. I'll scroll up and change the position. Scale it down a bit. And here we go. Next one, the speech bubble. This speech bubble is really cool because you have there a highlight. So I'll duplicate this footage and I'm going to this category, long lines. I'll scroll down to, I think it was this one. So let's try it out. Great. So first of all, I'll change the container fill to black and then text to white. I'll scale down and move it to the right and a bit to the top. So there are few things that we want to fix here. So first thing is this highlight. Right now it doesn't look right, so I need to reposition it. I scroll down to the highlight category and I can turn it off if I want to. And I want to change it to make it highlight the easy ease. So I will change the highlight text start. Yeah. And then I'll change the highlight length. I'll click into it. And here we go. Now I'm going to move this tip to the right. I'll scroll down to the container section and change the tail position. I'll drag it to the right. And I will also change the corners. And you know what? I'll make it move to the left. You can also flip the tail if you need to. Cool thing is that this rescales automatically to the text. So if I press enter and start typing, the whole speech bubble rescales automatically. So let's preview what we have. Oh, and now I see I made a mistake. When I was editing, I had my playhead placed somewhere here. And it was not the end of the transition yet. So I need to reposition it and change the highlight again. So I'll select this clip and edit the highlight text length. There you go. And there we go. All right, next one. So this is a pretty simple title and it's really nice, elegant actually. So I'll duplicate this footage and let's recreate this. So let's go here and I'll add as first thing this simple one-line title. I'll move it up a bit and make it last longer. And I think this font was called Utopia. I'll change the text to elegant and make it display bold. The next title that I'm gonna take is in a folder called Atypical. So I'll scroll down and this should be it. So I'll drag it here. Great. And let's select the both and scale them up. And see, this is very powerful. You can change more things at once. So let's change the font to Arpona in both styles. And let's make this one a little bit bigger. So I'll select it, change the scale. Oh yeah, this is gonna work. Now I want to shorten these lines, so I'll select this title with the lines, open up this circle and change the length. I'll reduce it. And now I need to rotate it. So, yeah. Let's scale it down a bit. And let's see what we got. Great, easy as a pie. In this one, we will take a look at how to combine title with a shape. Shapes are something we've added to the extras folder. If you open it, you can see a folder called shapes. And let's begin. I'll show you something. Let's go to the text box fill and go to 3-line title and select this one. And what if I want to use just these 2 first lines? I can simply delete this text, set the opacity of this container to 0. So I'll go to the container and find opacity of the fill and change it to 0. And here I got a title that looks different. Great, so I'll move it to the top left. Here we go. And let's add the shape. So I'm going to the shapes, scroll down and find the circle. I'll drag it to the timeline. And let's move it to the top left. Yeah, this is gonna work just fine. Maybe to the right a bit. And now I will select both and move it to the right. I can just drag, or I can click into it and by pressing Shift up I can change the both. Let's preview. Nice. Great, next one. This one is a bit special, it's quite stupid, but it's one of my favorites. So let's duplicate the footage and it's inside this atypical category. So I'll add it, and here's what's cool about it. You can change the arc. You see? Awesome. So let's change the font to Bad Manners. It's a very small font, so I need to scale the whole thing up quite a lot. And let's change it to Thug Life with a big L. Let's make sure that we are in the middle. Move it up a bit. Scale it up again. And there we go. We can change the arc. And let's move it behind the horse. Awesome. Cool. Next, this is again a combination of 2 different titles. I'll duplicate the footage. Go to the text without any boxes. And add this one. I'll change the length. You can see that the second title is quite small. I chose this one because both of these titles are masking from the bottom. You see? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to scale the text to make it bigger. I'll change the text and humans for a change. Scale the whole thing, move it up, and I'll also add a skew. It's not good to add too much of a skew. I usually add like 7. Oh, it's not humans, it's humans with 1 M. Okay. And now add the other title. It's in the one line. I'll add it here. And the name of the font is Pacifica. Let's change the text to 4. Increase it quite a lot. Change the color to red. And now here's what we need to do. We need to move it up, so it's not behind the white text. Great. So let's make it longer and move it up a bit to the right. And one more thing, let's add a drop shadow. Here we go to effects, add a shadow. I'll double click, bring here the effects panel and change the distance a little bit, increase it, and opacity. Great. Yeah, here we go. Next, this is an example of a typography background. It's included, but it's something like a bonus. You can find it in the extras folder among backgrounds. So, for example, there are different backgrounds with different variations. If you click here, you can see the variations. Here you can see them next to each other, and this way you can browse them as well. You can customize it the way you want, change the colors, change the scale, tracking, rotation, and so on. Let's see how it looks. I'll pre-render it. This will take a while because this is quite complicated stuff inside. It's a lot of text layers. So let's just fast forward. And here we go. Maybe I would expand the first layer just to make the box fill this space. Cool. Next, this is a combination of a title and a pattern background. Pattern backgrounds are something that we have as well included inside the extras. You can find it in the backgrounds folder, and each has different variations. So for example, if I click here, I can see them side by side and browse and compare. So for example, if I add this one, I can customize it the way I need it. For example, I can scale it, I can rotate it. I'll reset this. And by the way, if you place one after another, you will get a seamless loop. These were just a few use cases. You can create many different designs with it. These designs are timeless, so you may use them forever. That's gonna be it. Thank you for watching, and we hope you will love this spec as much as we do.